What's up, everybody? Welcome to another show, Jamming with J Money. We back. It's Saturday. We ready to get to some cash, man. Y'all know how we do it. Go to sbrpicks.com/NBA to check out all the articles that we have over there and NBA content, college basketball content, football, whatever type of sports content you're looking for. We have it over there along with articles and write-ups to go with it, man. It was a good day yesterday, man. Obviously, I'm your host, J Money, and that's my guy, Junior. Y'all know, man, when I come off a loss, I'm not too happy. But today's a real good day. It's a real good day. Had a pretty nice size wager on the Clippers yesterday, man. It ended up cashing that one, so everything is good in the hood with me, Junior. What's up with you, bro? How was your Christmas, my guy?
Christmas was quiet. I didn't get a chance to spend it with family, but that happens sometimes. As for the games, cashed in the Heat first half. Unfortunately, the Mavs got their asses whooped, so I finished 1-1 on the day of my official picks. Just looking to get back at it today. There's a lot of games, and we learned a lot. That's the one thing about these early games. You just really trying to absorb information, see what rotations are looking like. It's different guys getting different minutes on some of these teams. A couple of these teams, like the Mavs, like the Warriors, haven't figured out defense yet. Just a lot of different things. I like what I saw. Anyways, I'm sure we'll recap as we usually do. I don't want to talk for too long, but
No, say what you got to say. That's these first 10 minutes for sure. It's just for recap, and then because it's just important to what happened yesterday as is what's going on today. So.
Yeah, so I wanted to say that even though the Pelicanos lost, I was pretty impressed by them, to be honest with you. Zion Williamson, he's still very raw, but inside of that, he's an unstoppable force once he gets he gets more than one dribble going downhill. You got a problem. There was one possession where in the first half where he went to the basket. Duncan Robinson came over to help. Zion got an and one. And Duncan Robinson got so hurt by the impact of that collision, he didn't even see the ball go in the basket. He was just holding his chest like, "Oh my God, what just happened to me?" So,
got the wind knocked out of him.
Yeah, and as for Brandon Ingram, a hand in his face don't matter. That boy's a bucket. He's just a natural scorer. So I like what they got going on in New Orleans. It's just the rest of the guys that kind of didn't come to play, so they had a rough time. When KD and Kyrie get cooking, watch out everybody else in the NBA. That's pretty much all I can say about that. Lakers look like the Lakers. The Mavs really need to figure out their defense. And I actually didn't really get to watch the Clippers Nuggets game. A little too much food, a little too much liquor by that point. So I'm going to have to watch that one today. What about you, Jay?
Man, damn good day, man. I can't say I didn't have any bets on any other game. I was just waiting for the Clippers. I hated the fact that it was the last game on the board, and a lot of people were going to try to chase with that one. Every single favorite covered yesterday, which I'm sitting there like, damn, man, I hope that this last game the dog doesn't cover. But I know my guy Junior was on it, but it was a much bigger play for me, Junior. So you know what I'm saying? But
yeah, for sure.
I really needed the Clippers to come through for me. I had them -2, -2.5, -3, even put a little -3.5 in my pocket. I was all over that one. They ended up getting the cash 121, 108, even though Kawhi went down with a little Serge Ibaka caught him with a little elbow, a little shoulder there, laceration for Kawhi had to get 8 stitches, a lot of blood. The game could have turned there, but the Nuggets, this is not the same Nuggets team of years past. They could still make the playoffs, but they're really missing a lot of things that people didn't look at yesterday. Plumlee is going, Torrey Craig, defense off the bench is going, and starter for Jeremy Grant. They really missed him yesterday. The Nuggets the defense really is gonna have to take a few levels up, man, in my opinion, if they want to make the playoffs. Lakers get the job done over my Mavs there. Like Junior said, my Mavs, they need to get it on defense there. They were locked in for the first quarter there, but then once LeBron and AD got going, it was over from there, man. The Nets end up getting it done over the Celtics, man. They played a real team with real defense and still went out there and smacked them. So a lot of credit to those guys. It was pretty close there in the first half there. Celtics covered the first half. Second half, it was all Nets, man, all Nets. And the Bucks, they smashed the Warriors. We knew that was most likely going to happen. And the Pelicans looked good for a while, for about 3 quarters over there versus Miami, for the Heat put their foot down. Even though Jimmy Butler didn't come in the second half of that game, they still end up getting the job done. So a lot of credit to the Heat as well, because we know when those star players go out, a lot of things can happen in the game, man. Sometimes they'll like lose all the momentum. It can really happen, especially when you're not at the house. But the Heat end up being able to get it done at home. But let's get to today's games, Junior. Let's get to today's games, man. So you know what I'm saying? It's what the people are here for. It's the only thing that matters right now. Sorry we don't have a rundown, man. I gotta get it to those guys. It's the holidays right now, man. But we'll definitely have it on Monday for you guys. First game of the day, Junior. We're going to Memphis here. Hawks versus Memphis. Memphis favored by 2.5 points here. Line opened up at Hawks -1, then went to Memphis favor. Has been climbing up all morning. Total sitting at 237.5, up to 238.5. Junior, what you thinking in this one? We know the Hawks. They got a couple of more. They got some pieces over there. Capella's not going to play. Looks like Rondo is going to be good to go for today, and they did get Goodwin back as well. How you liking this one, my guy? What you thinking in this spot?
So I don't have a play on this one, but I'm going to tell you something that for the last couple of years, last 2 years at least, people have been trying to sell the fact that the Hawks are improved. I have not been buying that. They've gotten better players, but all their players are too young. Now when you look at their roster, like I watched that first game, and yeah, it was a bit ridiculous because they were shooting the ball so well. It's got a lot of bodies, man. Like, obviously, we know about Trae Young, we know about the young big man John Collins, but now they picked up Gallinari. Now Herter, instead of a starter, is like their 8th man. They got Bogdanovich. They just got a lot of bodies on that team. And I just think that of the two teams, I think Atlanta's a lot more talented, because when I looked at Memphis's game against San Antonio, that's the one thing that kind of stuck out to me. Other than Ja Morant, points could be a real problem, because me personally, I know I'm Canadian, so I'm supposed to root for Canadians. Dylan Brooks, I'm glad he's in the NBA. He actually is a distant relative of one of my close friends. But he shoots too much. They rely too much on this guy to get points. I think I would rather take the points with the more talented team early in the season. Honestly, that's just kind of my opinion, but it's a stay away for me. It's a watch and learn for me.
Exactly. It's definitely, in my opinion, I feel like a toss-up game. Anything can happen. I was the one to lean towards the Grizzlies. Obviously, the Hawks had a lot of injuries. It looks like, so I know that Gallinari was like closer to doubtful yesterday. Now he was been upgraded to questionable. Now I'm probably likely to playing. So I feel like that's a big difference there. Getting Rondo coming off the bench with some production there. These two teams played in the preseason. It's kind of crazy because when Capella and Rondo came in, when they came in for the first game, they was probable whatever ended up playing. Then they didn't look good that game, but then the very next game against the Grizzlies, when Rondo and Capella sat out, and that was the game where they were able to get the dub. So we do know that these teams with new players are starting to learn a lot of their chemistry. With that being said, we know that the Grizzlies, so the Hawks came out, looked really good in their first game. The Grizzlies didn't necessarily look too good, which some of it you could say towards the Spurs. Spurs just beat them. I'm one to think that the Grizzlies may take a step back this year. I love their mentality. I love the way they play defense, and that's the reason why I had made a bet on this game, because the Hawks are the better team in my opinion. It's obviously the much better offensive team, but the Grizzlies play harder and play more defense. So in these type of games, they could really make a difference. No Anthony Milton for the Grizzlies, who I think that hurts. They're already without Jaren Jackson Jr. They're already without Winslow. So, I mean, Milton gives them a lot of defensive energy off the bench, man. I remember I took the Hawks in one of those preseason games, and when Milton was ruled in, I was like, damn, why he had to play? He came out there and had a very good defensive game. It's pretty much the difference maker for the Grizzlies in their first preseason game versus the Hawks. This team can't afford to have players, more guys sitting out, in my opinion. The Grizzlies, they play better defense, in my opinion, but I really feel like that's the only edge they have in this game. The Hawks are the better team. Don't like the fact they look so good on the first day, but that was versus the Bulls. They will be going against tougher defense this time, but call me crazy. I actually lean the Hawks here plus the 2.5, especially with them getting a couple of guys back, and with that Milton injury, I really feel like it's going to be huge for the Grizzlies. I just don't think. I think this team is young still, and we can't forget they're missing Jaren Jackson Jr. This team was a lot different with him, Jr. What do you think about that? I think a lot of people are forgetting the fact that he's out.
Oh, I'm not. He's the second best player on their team. I mean, it's as simple as that. Not only offensively, but he's a defensive presence as well. He blocks shots. He doesn't grab as many rebounds as I'd like for a big man, but he's definitely a shot blocker. He's definitely a rim protector, and he's definitely a finisher around the rim. And also, he's a center that shoots like almost 40% from three. So you can't really if you don't know that he's a big piece that's missing you because you just don't watch enough basketball. But without him, like I said, no offense to Dylan Brooks, but I just think that if that's the guy that's going to take the second most shots on your team, it's going to be rough, man. It's going to be rough. They're going to need a lot of different guys to step up. It's going to be pretty much a by committee approach. I feel like it's kind of putting a lot of pressure on John Morant to be great every single night. Like, he can't have a night off or else they have no chance.
Exactly. And I can't throw too much shade to Dylan Brooks, as I'm not a big fan of him personally, or it's just as a player wise. And he complains way too much out there on the court. But he can't, when he gets hot, he can be an offensive punch for that team. It's just kind of, he's like a Jekyll and Hyde player. Sometimes he's not even out there, but when he gets hot, he can actually be better than John Morant when it comes to like the shooting wise, the threes. So it's kind of crazy, but he's just one of those players that shows up every once in a while. And I'm not really a fan of those type persons, especially a guy that complains about every single foul call. There isn't one foul call that Dylan Brooks doesn't complain about. Okay, I'm off the soapbox there, but I lean the Hawks here plus 2.5, but I'm staying off because the Grizzlies are, in theory, the much better defensive team, and they're at the house coming out with a little bit of a bounce back. But like I say, if I had to take something here, it would be Hawks here plus the 2.5. You could have got 3 this morning. I think it's going down to 2 now. It's going down to a 2 at a few books. Let's see what we got here. Hawks minus 2.5, actually up to, it's still 3 at Bet Online. So it's going to be moving all over the place there, obviously with some late injury news. Yeah, I know Capella just got ruled all the way out. No, minus 2s and minus 2.5. Sorry, guys, I had to refresh my screen there. And that refresh will give you a whole little ball game there. But 2s and 2.5s there. If you like Memphis, get that minus 2. If you like the Hawks, get the plus 2.5, man. Make sure you guys getting the best of the lines, Junior. Any thoughts on the total there one real quick, Junior? You got to mention something about the total, 238.5. High-ass total, man, but I'm not a total guy. Junior, what you thinking, my guy?
Yeah, it just seems like too many points for these teams, right? Especially Memphis, like I said. They can be pretty inconsistent offensively. I know I'm basing that off one game. I just don't like the rotation that I see right now. Hopefully, some different guys get minutes. Brandon Clark was pretty much a non-factor in that first game. So I just kind of want to see some different guys step up before I can invest in the fact that Memphis is going to be as good as they were last year, because no matter what, you mentioned something. They set the bar pretty high, man. Getting into the playoffs in the Western Conference is not going to be a gimme at all. So, their expectations are pretty high, and I'm not sure they have all the horses to be able to play at that level again, but it's still early, so we'll see.
Gotcha. Yeah, Elias say Hawks play 0 defense. Yeah, they got to work on it. I'm always hesitant to take, because like this is the NBA, and sometimes it happens where offense over defense, but I'm just one of those guys. I know what it takes to win, and your offense can be off. Junior, no, he's the coach. Your offense can be off all day. If your defense is locked in and you're stifling the other team and it's hard to get buckets, your offense can like come to life real quick. Defense can turn into offense. It scares me taking offense over defense. It seems like every time I do it, I get burned. The defensive team comes out there and do what they're supposed to do. So Hawks just a lean for me. Hawks plus 2.5. But I do think that DD Parker, yeah, we cashed that, baby. We cashed that, DD. But let's get to the next game, man. OKC versus Charlotte. interesting game, in my opinion, man. I am not a big fan of OKC at all this year, but when I look at this Hornets team, they're super young. They pretty much just shoot the ball. If the Hornets will definitely be a team. If the shots aren't falling, they will get blown out. They just lost their center Cody Zeller. I'm not a fan of them laying points, to be honest with you. Now they come in here at the house in their home opener versus the OKC squad, who has a couple of veterans over there. I mean, they have some players that can play defense over there. If you can guard the 3-point, if you can guard the perimeter against the Hornets, you have a damn good shot at winning, Junior. Call me crazy, but I'm actually leaning towards OKC here plus the 2.5, and I agree with the line movement from that 3 down to 2.5. What you thinking in this game, my guy?
I need more than one possession with OKC. So if I'm even going to consider the Thunder, it's got to be 3.5 or better. So for now, my lean would be Charlotte. I'm obviously not putting money on this game because it's pretty much a toss-up at this point. Not to say I think Charlotte's obviously the better team, but they're just inconsistent. Their best players are very similar to what you just mentioned with Dylan Brooks. They're just Jekyll and Hyde. I will say that they did get one very consistent player in Gordon Hayward, and he actually played very well in that first game. So that should be encouraging for Hornets fans. But is Terry Rozier really going to drop 42? He scored like 36 points in the second half. I just watched that game 2 days ago. You know what I'm saying? And they still lost. So, I mean,
never a good sign, Junior.
Yeah, I don't know. I definitely can't be in the business of laying points with Charlotte until I see more. But if I'm going to take points with OKC, I need more than one possession. So I need a 3.5.
I'm with you on that. It's crazy when two bad teams hook up because I'm one to think that like I'll almost always go with the dog. I'm one to think that like the Hornets can't be laying points. Like right now, especially with all the new players, they're getting all this hype mainly because of LaMelo Ball over there. Yeah, they got Hayward, but I really feel like they're getting a lot of hype. I don't know, bro. I mean, like I say, I like to look at matchups. Even when I'm looking at the bench for OKC versus the Hornets, I'm not a fan of the bench for the Thunder at all, but they still have players that are like a notch above the Hornets, in my opinion. That Terry Rozier going from 42, like the fact that you need to do that, the fact that I saw Terry Rozier, 42, like hold on, I have to go back and look. What the hell? And then, like you say, Junior, still in the losing effort. I think OKC is actually the better defensive team here. Like I don't think of the Hornets and think of defense. That Biyombo coming in for Zeller does upgrade their defense a little bit. But now who you gonna have coming off the bench? So that's what you got to think about when somebody's injured, somebody coming in the starting lineup. Okay, cool. Now you have to look at what that's taken away from the bench. It's a toss-up game. I can't even believe I'm talking about it this much. I lean the Thunder, but this is one of those so ugly games to where I don't think I could be comfortable with putting my money on it, saying like, okay, I'd be surprised if I lost. So lean Thunder here plus the 2.5, but two bad teams. I feel like anything can happen, Junior. I really hate betting toss-up games because, like I say, you can't really be surprised either way. But if you had to make a pick on this one, Junior, which way would you be looking? And any thoughts on the total 217.5?
No thoughts on the total just because we have no idea what OKC's offense is going to look like. And that's why I can't take less than a possession with them. So if at 2.5, I lean Charlotte. It gets to 3.5. I lean OKC because you just can't be in the business of laying points with Charlotte right now.
Gotcha. And that's my whole thing. That's where this one stopped at. I'm like, I'm not laying though. At first, it's crazy because last night I'm kind of looking at it. I'm like, man, let me get this straight right now. I am an OKC fader this year. I am not a fan of the OKC Thunder, with their whole roster, the way that it's put together. I'm not a fan of it. But in this particular type of game, like they'll probably be tanking towards the end of the season. Hill and Horford will not be there like past the trade deadline. They're going to be gone. I'm not even sure why they're on this team right now. But for this particular game, I do feel like they have the edge. This is one of the very few winnable games for OKC, in my opinion. So if they're looking at it that type of way, they can come out here and get this win, man. I say if you like OKC's, go ahead and take them on the money line. But it's a weird game, in my opinion. But I do agree that the line move going down from that -3 to -2. Yeah, they got Al Horford. Yeah, I know they got Horford. They got Hill. They got SGA over there. They got a few little players. It's just compared to this league, like that's not enough, bro. That's not enough. But against the Hornets, Junior, it could be. I mean, like I say, a couple of veterans over there, Hill, SGA, and Horford. You don't think that's enough to get it done versus the Hornets?
No, because the Hornets are one of those weird teams that they have just enough shooters that they could really start getting it cooking. You know, like Terry Rozier is probably not going to score 42 points, but Brandon Graham could start cooking. You know, Gordon Hayward could have a good game. They still got bodies. I actually don't mind their top six. In my opinion, Cody Zeller, dude looks like he's like 52 and he's like probably like 28. Like getting him out of there is a blessing in disguise. No offense to him because he's actually a very good rebounder and he's a very smart IQ player. But he's a player that literally has not improved in like 3-4 straight years. He's like the same guy he was in his second year in the NBA. So
Junior,
I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan.
They on you in the chat because you said Brandon Graham. Nah, it had tripped me out too. We know who you're talking about. He's talking about Devontae Graham.
My bad. I always be mixing up these dudes' names, man. Devontae Graham, my bad. Y'all know who I'm talking about, bro. Definitely not talking about Brandon Graham.
Right. No. You put Brandon Ingram and Graham together, bro.
Yeah. So Devontae Graham in the first game had 10 assists, which is something that if he can add that to his game to go along with the shooting, now you're talking about a really good player. You know what I'm saying? Because at Kansas, he was more of a he never really got the chance to fully have the point guard duties because him and his backcourt mate were like combo guards. He came into the NBA as a combo guard who could just shoot. But if he could add assists to his game, now you got something. But I got to see it first. Someone in the chat said LaMelo's going to be starting. If LaMelo's starting, that means that they're ass. Yeah. All right, that's the only way that LaMelo is going to be starting because they pay Rozier too much to not start him, and he's not starting over Devontae Graham. I'm sorry, he might start over Brandon Graham, but he's not starting over Devontae Graham.
Got you. Let's get to the next game, man. We got some big games. We're going to try to get through most of the game. So no official play for me on that one. Sounds like Junior is kind of leaning the Hornets. I kind of lean the Thunder, but it's no play for me. And Zeller is out, fractured hand, out 4 to 6 weeks. No play for me on Cleveland versus Detroit game. This is pretty much like the same type. Like which one is worse type shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't make plays and I don't force plays on games like that. I actually lean the Pistons. I know, oh my gosh, they lean the Cavs. They think the Cavs are a lot better this year. They do get Love and Exum back, which is huge for them, but crazy. I still think the Pistons are a tad bit better than the Cavs. I'm not sold on the Cavs yet. It's just my opinion, but the Pistons didn't look necessarily too good versus the Timberwolves. Next game, Orlando versus Washington. This is actually a nice game. Wizards, damn good game versus the 76ers. They're up 10 late and end up losing that game. Now they face a stifling defense versus the Magic, whose offense isn't all that great. I think this is a winnable game here for the Wizards. Junior, any thoughts on this game?
Yeah, if the Wizards are going to win one, it's going to be this type of game, right, where their offense is in my opinion, the much better of the two. I know that the Orlando Magic always come to play defense. I just like how the Wizards kind of match up with this Orlando lineup. I guess you're going to say Markelle Fultz is going to guard Westbrook, I guess, and who's guarding Bradley Beal? Fournier? I mean, I think Washington could really. What is the spread? -2.
-2.
I'm very much interested in Washington. I wish I would have gotten it at -1, which was the opener. This is about as expensive as I'll get with this price, though. So heavy lean towards Washington. Probably end up taking it before the game starts at 7 p.m. Eastern. But I like Washington. It's Washington or nothing for me in this game for sure.
Got you. Much better defense for the Magic, but much light years better offense, if you ask me, for the Wizards here at the house with some new kind of spunk, new fire. I'd take the Wizards here -2 over the Magic there. Like I said, I think it's a small number. much better defense for the Magic, but they could be in for a bit of a letdown after that Heat win. I mean, I think I'm a fan of the Magic team, especially over there in the East. But I just think in this particular spot, like Junior said, the Wizards they propose a couple of matchup problems, if you will, for the Magic, who are great team defense. So as far as like team defense, I really feel like they'll be all right. But if it gets to like maybe some one-on-ones, it gets to the transition. If the Wizards get out running and gunning and are making those Bertans making those threes, they have a shot, definitely have a shot to win this game and cover that -2. I definitely lean for the Wizards here. For me, I've been kind of getting to like one strong play a day, so I'll kind of get my one strong play a day. Then I'll have like maybe some few leans, maybe go a little smaller. Wizards definitely my second strongest lean today. Like if I was to make a play have a second one, it would be the Wizards -2. I might have some small on it there, Junior. Sound like we both together on that one. We like the Wizards -2, man. Next game, 76ers versus the Knicks. A line climbing up to 8.5 now for the 76ers. Junior, what you think about this one? Knicks at the crib. Yeah, line's 8.5 across the board. Possibly get a 9 if you like the Knicks there. Knicks don't look like there's just that much of a pushover this year, Junior, even though, you know what I'm saying, they kind of mesh a bunch of veterans together and try to make it work. What do you think? Philly is for real? Are they ready to be laying near double digits on the road?
Can't lay this many points with this team. I watched them against Washington. Now, and the Knicks are not nearly as good as Washington, but the Knicks, like we saw many times last year, they can be frisky, and we know that they're a much better coach team than they were before. So it seems like a pretty expensive price, in my opinion. I mean, as far as being off this game, I'm so far off this game. I kind of like forgot about it until you just brought it up.
You don't have to say too much, then, my guy.
Yeah, I'm not interested in Philadelphia at -8.5 against damn near anybody. I'm going to be honest with you. So, no.
I do think that Philadelphia will get to that point to where they'll be laying, like, I think later in the season, they might be laying 10.5 in this same game, in all seriousness. The Sixers will get there. I just don't think they're there right now. A lot of kind of sort of turnover. I mean, you got a new coach and you got a few new pieces on the roster. So everybody's getting used to playing with each other. The Knicks won't have Obi Toppin in this game. So, I mean, even though we know he's like kind of sort of the savior for the Knicks now, or so have you or whatever, but it's no look for me in this one. I still don't know how good the 76ers are yet, because this is one of those teams like late, obviously the past few seasons they've been real Jekyll and Hyde. Now they actually have a real coach. So I do think 76ers will take that next step. I'm not I don't want to bet against them in this spot, and I'm definitely not betting on them. It's early in the season, guys. A lot of wait and see. If you guys going to smash pretty much all these games now, I mean, if you like losing money, I don't like losing mine. So I try to I like betting where I have an edge, and if it's not an edge, then I'm not betting. Then lines open up at 7.5, up to 8.5 for the 76ers. Like I say, I do think the 76ers are that much better than the Knicks, just if they can put it together that early in the season, and they're on the road here. So be interested to see. Yeah, the Knicks are definitely not the Wizards, though, Junior. I'll definitely say that. Next up, we got the Pacers versus the Bulls here, Junior. A line opened up at 3.5 for the Pacers, shot up to 5. Obviously, with how bad the Bulls looked in there, the Bulls they didn't look too good, man. Like I said, they could have lost that game by 40 points, bro. If the Hawks really wanted to, they could have smacked the Bulls. They are at the house, home dog here in the bounce back situation. Do you think Billy Donovan coached these boys up and able to cover the spread versus a much better Pacers squad?
Yeah, you might have to check my temperature because kind of leaning the baby Bulls, to be honest with you. And it's not because I'm a Bulls believer. You know that I don't like this team at all, actually. I'm just not ready to lay 5.5 points with Indiana on the road. I'm going to be honest with you. Indiana does not convince me at all. When I watched them play in that first game, they got the win. But the Knicks were kind of hanging around that game for most of the game until Indiana kind of finally pulled away. And Chicago's more talented than that, and they're at home. So I would take the points with the Bulls. I can't even. I feel so. Listen, bro. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna give Billy Donovan the benefit of the doubt that he takes that game film, he throws it in the garbage, and he says, "Guys, we can't really play much worse than that. Let's start off fresh. We're at home. Let's get the season going on the right foot. We got these Pacers. You know what I mean? The Pacers are nothing serious. So like, I'm just saying this. I would rather take the points with the Bulls than lay with the Pacers at this point.
Got you. And it's crazy because it kind of seemed like we've been saying a lot of these shows, first few shows, like at this point. So it's like at this point right now in the season, there's a lot of unknowns, not a whole lot of data points, numbers to go off of. Like if there's any time we're really making educated guesses right now, if there was any other time, nobody tell you that you're crunching numbers 2 games into the season. I mean, you can go off last year. You might get bitten in the butt doing that as well. Like, what, you're going to go off there in the bubble? We'll see, man. We'll see. But the Pacers, I can't say. I do think that they're 5 points better than this Bulls team. It is on the road here. It is a huge bounce back for the Bulls. In my opinion, I mean, they're going to have to shoot a whole lot better than they did in the first game. I mean, you look at it, how they played versus the Hawks, who are not a damn good defensive team. Now they're going up against the Pacers, who are, their defense is light years better than the Hawks. So it's just, that's the only thing that scares me. If you look like that versus the Hawks, I know it's the first game of the season, but I mean, they had four preseason games. Well, I think it's going to take some time for Billy Donovan to put his imprint, his thumbprint on these still very young Bulls they just get younger damn near every year. I mean, I'm a believer in this Bulls squad. Maybe not in this spot. I'll be liking to get a few more points with them if I'm going to take them here in this spot. It's lean for me for the Pacers, but it's not one that I'll have my money on. I need to see the Bulls get locked in. I need to see Kobe White, Zach LaVine, like literally get locked in on both sides of the floor before I start thinking about taking them up against it. Because I do view the Pacers as an upper echelon team in the Eastern Conference. That's where the Bulls are trying to get right now. They got Sabonis back over there. They got Warren playing. I'm a big fan of Malcolm Brogdon on both sides of the floor. He can be a defensive stopper if you want. They got Miles Turner. You know what I'm saying? They got a damn good bench. I'm a fan of this Pacers team, and I'm not fading them today. Like I lean the Pacers. I'm not touching the Bulls. I need to see them get on the right track first. Real quick, Junior, any thoughts on the total? I kind of want to talk about the totals too. 222.5, my guy. Well, which do you think the Bulls get running and gunning in this one? They have to try to score more points here versus they can't try to run half court versus the Pacers. I'd lean to the over here.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, the best players on the Bulls, Zach LaVine, Kobe White, they're probably at their best when the pace is a bit quicker. If they try to get into a half court game with the Pacers, I don't see how that works out in the Bulls' favor. So I expect them to try and get themselves some easy baskets because in the first game, their half court offense did not look good at all. The Hawks had so many steals in the half court. It was ridiculous. So I think the Bulls are going to try and probably pick up the pace, get a couple easy baskets, see the ball go in the net. So I would lean over because if that's what the game turns into, the Pacers have enough guys that can put up points where they can cover a spread that's, in my opinion, pretty low.
Got you. Exactly. Yeah, I think it's pretty low as well. That's why you've seen it go up from that 3.5 to 5 as well. I mean, if you could have got that Pacers minus 3.5, but that's why a lot of these games, man, if you really see something sharp or the lines in the move, you have to get on it the night before, in all honesty, because these NBA lines are going to move. You might see something move. I mean, that Clippers line opened at pick. Like, seriously, bro. I mean, it moved like it was at -1 and closed at -3.5 with juice to the favorite. Just a FYI to you guys. Next game up, Raptors versus the Spurs. This is my game. This is the one bet that I have made already today. It's kind of, I'm not going with this year. I'm not saying anything about public sharps, anything about that. It shit doesn't really matter, man. Public wins sometimes. Sharp lose plenty of money. I've seen it plenty, especially in NFL. Plus, it's probably a public side, but I like the Raptors today. A lot of people are sold on the Spurs, especially after one game. I'm not. This is still a team that I'm going to be fading this year. This is a team that, even though they have some youth, they have a few guys out there that are pretty old, and I really feel like against certain teams, the Spurs will not look good, man. I know they look good, and it's crazy because this is another game where the Sharps, they love the Spurs today at the house. I'm sorry, man. Raptors coming off a terrible first game outing. Y'all know me. I'm not even a big fan of the Toronto Raptors, but my money is not a fan. You know what I'm saying? It has no favorite team or least like team. I like the Raptors today. Light years better defensive team. Pretty much the same squad from last year, man. They did at least lose some pieces off the bench, which is a little scary. We know that the Raptors aren't playing at their house, which it could kind of hurt them early in the season. I really feel like that's the only way that people are taking the Spurs here, Junior. Just feeling like the Raptors are out of sorts early in the season from them not being at the house. You know, we know that they're not playing at home this year. They're playing pretty much down there in Tampa, Florida. So much better defensive team right here, Junior. That's where it stops at for me. I like the Raptors. I did get them at -1. I still like the -2 as well, minus the short number. Sharps on Spurs, guys. It might come back down, but I'm going public here. Give me the Raptors. Much better team, in my opinion, Junior. Are you with me?
Yeah, I got the Raptors -1 too. I think it's a bounce back spot. I'm going with the J Money narrative in terms of I don't see the Raptors losing 2 in a row. I think that's the first time the Raptors have lost their opening game in a really long time, to be honest with you. I'd have to go back and check that stat. In terms of just the actual game narrative, you mentioned something. The Raptors calling card is defense, and I just don't feel like San Antonio's offense is prolific enough that the Raptors shouldn't be laying at least one full possession, if not more. Obviously, if it was 3.5 or more, the public would probably start leaning towards taking the Spurs, but in this spot, I think the number is short enough that I'm invested in the Raptors. I actually would still take it at 2. I got it at 1, like you did, but I just think you're getting the better team on a short number. Yeah, they're not playing at home, but to me, the Raptors are not the type of team that's going to make a whole lot of difference if they're motivated. They always come to play. The effort's never a question, but now they have extra motivation where not only did they lose their opening game, they actually just didn't look good. They're going to want to look better. I expect a better performance from most of their guys, and I'm just going to take, like I said, I'm kind of probably repeating myself. I'm taking the short number with the better team.
Exactly. And right now, well, we don't have any numbers or data points to go off of. So right now, I'm simply going with the better team. And in all honesty, I'm looking at the lineups. Top to bottom, Raps are better. And Ibaka does hurt them. Don't get it twisted. But see, they got Baines over there. So it's not like they just have a terrible swap out. Or obviously, Ibaka was a lot more athletic, but Baines is going to be better. He's going to be a little bit better in some spots. Versus a team like the Spurs, I have no problem with swapping Ibaka for Baines. No problem whatsoever. Against LaMarcus Aldridge, have you seen this guy run up and down the floor? Man, that's why. So when you kind of get older, you have to start shooting them threes because he can't bang down low. He doesn't have the physical quickness, the lateral, you know what I'm saying, the quickness of the lateral movement. He doesn't have that. So, yeah, LaMarcus Aldridge, he's sitting out there on the three-point line shooting threes and trying to get back on defense early. This is what he's doing. But, I mean, it's, even bench-wise, I know the Raptors, their bench isn't as strong as well. I like them in this matchup coming off a loss. I know they're on the road here. They hadn't really fared too well the past 8 meetings in San Antonio. But like I said, this is a different year. They better get used to playing on the road. I feel like most of the time it was from them coming from Toronto down to San Antonio. And now it's not that big of a deal as well. You're already in the States. So coming off that loss, Raptors, they do not want to go down 0-2. That's not the simple cap. The cap here is they're the much better team from top to bottom. Light years better defense, in my opinion. We're going with defense over offense. I like the Raptors tonight, -1, -2. The Raptors are my official play for the show. Next game up, Junior, it's kind of crazy. I kind of like on this one, man. Timberwolves versus Jazz. Jazz looked phenomenal in their first game versus the Blazers, which was a lot of that was the Blazers looking terrible as well, Junior. Dame couldn't even get it going. Even though they got a couple of new defenders over there, the defense wasn't good for the Blazers in their first game. Jazz looked phenomenal. We know that they're going to take the next step. Donovan Mitchell continues to get better and better. They got Bogdanovich back over there. Rudy Gobert playing at a high level. Is this too many points, though, Junior? I mean, they're laying down there close to double digits. I don't think that the Timberwolves will be a pushover this year. Their defense has a lot to be worked on, but I did not think that the Timberwolves will be a pushover this year. And I really feel like they're going to take another step forward this year, man, aside of getting the number 1 pick. I like the Timberwolves squad this year. I think that +9 is a little too rich for the Jazz, in my opinion.
Yeah, I just think it's too many points. I know I keep saying that. And probably people are getting sick of me saying that. But just this early in the season, the Timberwolves are not terrible. They're by no means a great team. I think that they still kind of lack a pure shooter on their team. D'Angelo Russell took like 10, 11 threes in the last game. I'm not sure that's what you really want, but at the same time, D'Angelo Russell's a baller, and the fact of the matter is that they're a team that has a ton of bodies. They got a ton of 6'6", 6'7" athletic guys that can play, that want to get better. This team looks like a team who, in previous years, they kind of lacked a bit of enthusiasm, maybe direction, maybe culture. D'Angelo Russell chose to go to Minnesota. He wants to be there. They got guys that you know what I'm saying, want to give effort for the cause. So I know I'm kind of maybe trying to talk myself into Minnesota here because I have no play on this game. I just think this is a lot of goddamn points for Utah. Yes, Utah looked great in the bubble offensively, and they looked great in the first game offensively, but they can struggle on their day too.
Mm-hmm. Especially if they don't take the Timberwolves, if they don't take them seriously.
Yeah. You're not selling me on the fact that this Utah offense is some juggernaut, because it isn't. And I think that of all the matchups for Rudy Gobert, Karl Anthony Towns is not a great matchup for Rudy Gobert at all.
And he's gonna pull him away from the paint as well.
Yeah, exactly. So Minnesota has a couple of ingredients that could give these guys problems. I mean, D'Angelo Russell is a big-time matchup problem for that Utah backcourt that's way smaller than he is. So, again, the Wolves got a couple of pieces that could give them problems. And anytime you could pose a matchup problem for your opponent, I feel like you can hang around. So I can't lay – I mean, I'm not laying double digits, but you damn near need these guys. You need them to win by double digits to cover the spread. I'm not interested in any of that.
Exactly. And like you say, to hang around, it's a whole nother thing when you get 9 points. So I never bet on a team saying that they hang around. When I'm taking a dog, it's usually because the number's wrong. And I really do think that this number should be closer to -7. It opened at 8 and then got bet up to 9. So I mean, even the number that it said right now was the original number. It could get out of hand, but I really do feel like Timberwolves are a different type of team this year, and they can keep this one close, man. They have the offense, but this is them. Don't get it twisted. This is a offense versus defense. Since Timberwolves, they have a lot to work to do on defense. They pretty much focus on offense, and the Jazz, I mean, they're mainly was the defensive team. Now they're going to the offensive, but if they take the Timberwolves lightly, I think that the Utah can win by double digits, but teams don't always take that other team. Like they're going to come to play versus the Blazers. Timberwolves, they might, we come in here winning for a few points. When that happens, you can see a -9 favorite go down as a, you know what I'm saying, straight up. 2 more games, real quick, Junior. A few more, like 3 more minutes. Suns versus Kings. I really have a hard time reading the Suns. I'll be perfectly honest with you guys. Everybody has their kryptonite. For the near future, I won't be betting any games involving the Suns. Every time I bet against them, they play like world beaters. When I bet on them, this team fucking sucks, man. So it's nothing for me. I really figured out that this team here, like you talk about, Junior, going through stuff from last year, the Suns bit me so many times. Me betting against them and betting on them, I never can seem to get them right. Sometimes you just have that one team, man. And Rockets versus Blazers, like they only got 9 players dressed, and Harden will be playing. Like the start lineup might be Harden, Sterling Brown, Daniel House, PJ Tucker, and Christian Wood. So they're getting a bunch of points over there. They still have some players over there. Kind of crazy feeling on that one, Junior. Definitely won't be making a play in there with too many moving parts. And the Blazers didn't necessarily look like they're how good they're supposed to be in their first game. So it could be a bounce back for them. I got everybody messaging me on Twitter thinking that the Blazers are going to be easy tonight. Junior, any thoughts on these last 2 games, my guy?
Yeah, so it's funny. What you said about Phoenix is me with San Antonio last year. It seems like every goddamn time I bet on the Spurs, they would they wouldn't just cover the spread. They would outright win as dogs. And then I'd be like, all right, so I'm going to take the Spurs. and then they get their asses whooped. So I have no idea. That's why I'm a little bit nervous with this Toronto play because it is my one.
Oh shit!
Play.
Hey, don't say nothing else about that. Then
Yeah, it's my one official play of the show. But you just made me realize why it took me until this morning to make it official. But yeah, as for Phoenix and Sacramento, not sure I'm ready to lay points with Phoenix. They looked all right in the first game, but they didn't look great. I think Dallas actually just struggled to make shots. Phoenix didn't really put that game away until the end. They went up by 10. Dallas came back. They went up by 10 again. Dallas came back again. So I'm not really sure what to make of Phoenix. And as for Houston and Portland, I think Portland probably wins the game. But now we're laying. I mean, the line's gone down because at least some people have come to their senses. -8.5. Yuck. Here's the problem, though. How toxic is the James Harden situation?
it's very toxic.
You understand what I'm saying? Like we can see these guys come out. James Harden could pull one of these. You remember back in the day when Kobe would get pissed and he would just be like, you know what? I'm just not even going to shoot. Y'all want to talk shit? I'm just not even shooting. I remember he did that a couple different times. And it's kind of like, what the hell is going on? If James Harden pulls that move, he has to get blown out by.
You know what?
Points.
I saw that in the preseason too. I saw that. I watched the Rockets super closely in the preseason, and Harden kind of had that like, y'all got it. But that's when Wall was still out there walling with, but he was definitely like, y'all got it. Now, when Wall went out the game, he started to take over again. He started scoring again. So with him not playing, it's a little scary, but I saw a little bit of that. I'm gonna tell you one thing: I'm not betting on Rockets game. It's too much of it's too many variables. When I have my money down, I like to be on one side. I like to be very stuck on. Look, I'm on this, and if I lose, I have to just be like, I loved it. I kind of take the loss. I don't bet iffy games, man. Anything with the Rockets right now is an iffy game. You don't know what you're getting. The Rockets come out here and win straight up. Still got Tucker, Christian Wood, still got Harden out there. He could go for 50. He still has to up his trade stock. Wood and PJ Tucker are always going to give 100 there, but tough one, man. Blazers didn't necessarily look as good as they're supposed to in their first game. Now they're laying them 3 possessions. Tough one, Junior. We got to go ahead and get off the show. We can't go on too long. I could do this shit all day, but we do have to get off one official. Break them off with your official play, Junior. I don't want to talk for you.
No, it's definitely the Raptors. I got them at -1. I know the line has moved up since then to -2, but I would still take them at -2 anyway. To be honest with you, and I got a heavy lean towards Washington. I still like this number before it gets to 3. I think Washington could win by 1 possession. If this Wizards team is going to improve from the team we saw last year, these are the type of games that they have to win. And I think that now that they got Russell Westbrook, who's got that dog mentality, they're going to come out with the attitude that they should be winning this game, and they'll do enough to cover that spread, in my opinion.
Got you. We got to go ahead and get out of here, man. Win a couple of minutes over, but we'll definitely be back on Monday. My official pick, like we both on the same side. I'm on the Raptors as well. I did get officially at -1, but I still like the -2 as well. You just land a bucket. One more thing. Every single favorite covered yesterday. I'm not one to sit here and say that means the dogs are going to, but I'm just saying be a little bit careful. I really do feel like some of those favorites are being shot up one. I really think that the Jazz is a prime example. I like the Timberwolves +9 in that one. I'm going to make that one official as well. I like the Timberwolves +9. I like the Raptors -1, and I heavy lean to the Wizards there -2. I might get down on that one as well. Be careful with those favorites today. Every single favorite covered yesterday. So just to be, you know what I'm saying, put that out there, my guys. We appreciate all you guys for tuning in. Hit that like button, share the show, man. We appreciate all of that. And come back and tune in on Monday, man. Pretty much every single day. Go to sbrpicks.com/NBA as well. I'm finna go to this Gonzaga Virginia game, man. Y'all wish me luck, man. I like Virginia. I'm taking Virginia a little small as well, +8, man. But I'm finna go see this game live in Fort Worth, man. Y'all, I'm gonna holler at you boys, man. Y'all stay safe out there. We gone.